So when you're ready to start varying the play, you want to think about what were the major elements in that play script that you can follow along and then find variety within those. So for example, we had who was the patient? Was it a doll, a bear, your child? Then we had what was wrong with them. Then we had the different tools that we used and what the doctor's recommendation was at the end. So each of those elements can be varied each time you play, as long as the rest of them stay the same. You don't want to change all of them until your child is really flexible about the variation within that same structure. So here I'm going to model another way to play, following it with some variety. Oh, come on in, you don't feel well? All right, lie down. Okay, I'm going to check you out. First, I'm going to take your temperature. Ooh, you've got a little bit of a fever. Let me listen to your heart. Okay, that sounds good. Then I'm going to check your eyes and your ears. Okay, those look good. Here, sit up. I'm going to give you some medicine. Okay, all better. See you tomorrow. Bye. So there, I used the same tools that I did the first time, but I varied the order that I did them in. I also had the patient lie down a different way on the examination table. And finally, instead of telling them to take some medicine, I gave them some medicine. So I made a few different adjustments, but it wasn't drastically different from the way that we had played it before. You can play around with that given how your child responds to those changes. When you're ready to start planning out your play, think back again to those key elements that were in the play script that you can then choose from. So to start with, I would have my child choose which doctor kit they wanted. So let's say they chose the red one. Well, it doesn't have any tools in it, so now we need to pick some tools. And I have loaded the basket with some of the same tools that we used the first time around in the play script. And then I have some variations. So for example, you might have a different stethoscope, even though it's still a stethoscope, or a different thermometer. And then I've added a couple of other tools so that we could pull out some different items to put in. And then that would go in our kit. Then we need to choose our patient. And then finally, we could choose who's going to be the doctor. We could have a puppet to be the doctor if your child enjoys puppets, or I could be the doctor, or my child could be the doctor. If they don't need to pick from the actual items like that, then we can have some visual choices. So for example, here we can choose which tools. We have our shot, we have a Band-Aid, and we have the stethoscope. And then we could choose who's going to be the patient. It's going to be your child this time. And then we might have another one for the doctor. We could also have some choices for where the patient would lie. Are we going to use the child's bed as the examining table, or use the rug, or use a little mat like we were doing in the original one? And finally, when your child is ready for a little bit more planning in advance, again, you can have a little sheet that you have written up with some of the main points of the play that you're going to plan out ahead of time, and then also include the option to change things up a little bit more than you did the first time. All right, where are we going to have the doctor's office today? Is it going to be here in the living room or in your room? Ooh, in your room, okay. All right, and who is going to be the doctor and who's going to be the patient? Okay, the doctor is Mommy, and the patient is going to be, patient is going to be your doll. Okay, and what's going to be wrong with the patient today? Oh, they have a tummy ache. Oh, poor doll. What tools should we use if somebody has a tummy ache? Are we going to need a stethoscope? Yeah, probably not. but we might want to listen to their tummy. Okay, so let's have a stethoscope. And what else might we need? Okay, we need the blood pressure thing. And the reflex hammer, okay. And then when we check the patient, are we gonna figure out what's wrong, or is it still gonna be a mystery and we might have to try some other things? Ooh, it's gonna be a mystery, and we might have to get a few more tools and see if we can figure out what's going on. Okay, so let's review. So we're gonna go to your room, and I'm gonna be the doctor, and the patient will be a doll, but what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be my nurse? Okay, you can help me. And then the patient will have a tummy ache, and we'll need our stethoscope, the blood pressure cuff, and the reflex hammer. Do you know where those are? Okay, good. And then finally, at the end, we're still not sure what's wrong with the patient, and we'll have to try to figure that out. Okay, sounds good. Let's go get our stuff. And that would be how I might plan out with my child. Once you have practiced this variety with the play script with the doll and the doctor and your child, think about other ways you can expand upon that. For example, you don't have to be a doctor, it could be a vet, and then we could have different animals and toys from around the house that are animals that we could incorporate into the play. If you have a real animal that is flexible with kids, like a golden retriever or a lab, you might use your actual dog as the patient. And then think about how you can expand on social opportunities for your child. So if you have other siblings in the home, they could take turns being the patient or the doctor. Or if your child has friends who come over or other families that you're friends with, you could do this play scenario with them as well, so that you just look to expand the opportunities for social interaction using those same play skills.